All right, let me burp. And then burp again.
You okay?
Oh, yeah. I've been drinking.
I just started. Well, I say I just started my wine. I'm halfway down the glass. So.
Nice. All right, I'm going to start recording.
Scooby-Doo.
And we ready?
Yep.
Let me sit up a little bit. Adjust my posture. My stupid chair is falling apart.
Hey,
all right.
If you use my affiliate link, you can get one of these with $10 off.
You're dumb. Okay, here we go. Hello, podcast universe. This is Not the Worst Podcast, and I am JD, joined by my co-host Anthony, and we're here to talk about some gaming stuff. So
Yay.
Let's get into it. How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right, hanging in there. Not really looking forward about working tomorrow, but I guess I can't complain.
Yeah.
Still
Hey,
alive.
Things could be worse, right? We're not doing too bad. Sitting around recording podcasts and making the monies, bringing in the big bucks.
Technically, I should be in Tennessee this week.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, this was my wedding week.
Well, we'll get to that because we got a story that pertains to you this week. So,
yep.
So, let's jump right into the topics. Our first topic is Twitch. We like talking about Twitch here. We talk about it a lot. Anthony's a streamer, and I watch Twitch a lot because I work from home. So, in this story, it's a story about Twitch's budding weed stars. Get it, budding, because weed is it's bud. Okay, it's a pun.
That's quality journalism right there.
Right. So in Twitch's gardening section, which used to be filled with things like, Stardew Valley, games about gardening, is now being filled with people growing and filming the growing of marijuana.
I didn't even know there was a gardening section.
I didn't either, actually. It's just funny. In fact, I'm going to click on it right now just to see how much of it is weed. And yeah, there's a lot of weed. Just clicking on the link shows it's like half weed, half weird video games, and then like somebody playing Stardew Valley. So there you go.
One random Stardew Valley guy.
Right. Or Animal Crossing also. Anyway, so the interesting thing about this is that it's not technically against Twitch's rules within certain limitations, right? They can't be selling the weed. If they're selling it, that's bad. And if where they're streaming from, it's illegal to do what they're doing, that's also bad. But as long as it's legal, they can stream it. And so it's kind of, from my interpretation of the article is that it's kind of making Twitch uncomfortable. For one thing, because advertisers don't like advertising with weed. Just like we were talking about how Summit is having a problem. Famous Twitch streamer Summit is having a problem with Monster Energy because of his weed issues. The same is true for advertisement all over the world. They just don't like advertising with marijuana. So I think Twitch is worried it's going to cost them money having all of that on their channel. But unless they explicitly make it against the rules, and if they do that, people will riot. So anyway, there's a community growing, a bunch of people that are interacting with each other, and they're building viewership and all this stuff. And there's a whole big article about it. Some of them have even become successful enough to get marijuana sponsorships. There was one interview in the article, a Puerto Rican streamer who has used her money to start a nonprofit about marijuana education and all this other stuff. So it's really interesting to see that growing out of Twitch.
That's better than what I heard about. See, the first thing I heard about weed on Twitch was involving another streamer who got her stimulus check, spent it all on weed, and smoked it all in one stream.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's one way to go.
Yeah. So I guess weed is in fact impacting Twitch one way or another.
Hey, it's decriminalized here in Virginia now, so I got to get the hookup. If anybody knows any Virginia marijuana hookups, I'm not in the military anymore, so I can do it if I wanted to.
I cannot, regardless.
Loser.
I'm surprised I don't get tested every time I come back from Maine, because Maine, it's made it legal and people are smoking it left and right up there. So
nice. Oh, so I guess your brother's gonna be my hookup. All right. Yeah. So I just think it's interesting. There's a big long article about all the different members of the community and what they're doing and how they're doing it. They did point out that, you know, it's a lot of white people that are doing it, because yeah, I don't know that there's really a good reason for that, except that, you know, there's a bit of a stigma around marijuana and minorities, I guess, and that can be problematic. Yeah, but
see, and this is what I don't get.
Not really on these guys.
I can't really watch people stream in general unless it's someone that's actually entertaining. But to watch people just grow plants,
right?
How's this getting popular? I mean, unless people are trying to be aspiring weed farmers themselves, and they were hoping that.
And I think that's part of it. I think there's some curiosity. You know, like if you smoke weed a lot, or you know anything, if you do anything a lot, if you eat steak a lot, or you know maybe you want to know where it comes from, or you want to know how it gets to where it goes, and I think it's just curiosity on people's part. They want to know where marijuana comes from. How do you grow it? Where do you grow it? You know, are we going Breaking Bad up in here, or you guys got a 100-acre marijuana farm in your backyard? I mean, I think people just go there to ask questions, and I don't know, maybe these guys are entertaining. Maybe they're playing music and telling jokes and that kind of stuff. But yeah, from like the pictures, it looks really boring because it's literally just plants. Like, I understand it's marijuana, but it's just plants. They're not doing anything. So
I'm looking at one screenshot from a stream, and it's got a guy. I mean, he's got his webcam set up, but then he's got another camera just staring at weed. So I'm guessing he's just talking about weed as his camera stares at weed.
Apparently. But, yeah, I mean, it's weird. And yeah, like this one, I just clicked on one of the streams. This guy has 6,600 subs. And it's literally just a webcam pointed at weed. Like there's nobody here. There's nobody even talking. There's just a fan going off. And it's weed. Like, what? It's so weird. I don't know why you would want to watch this. Maybe like there are some Twitch streams where they'll do point a camera at something, but it'll be like puppies. Yeah, I'll watch a stream of puppies jumping on each other and barking and yipping. That sounds great. Plants are not interactive.
They just sit there.
Yeah.
You can't even see them grow because they grow very, very slowly.
There we go. Yeah. So that's pretty weird. I guess if you're high, it's probably really entertaining.
Especially if you got the munchies.
Yeah.
So, more power to them.
If it's working for them, I mean, that 6,600 subs is not a small amount of subs. That's a lot of subs.
I mean, it's not.
So if you're getting that, just talking about smoking weed and showing pictures of weed, good on you.
I mean, a lot of people complain about different people getting popular on Twitch for various reasons. I'm not going to get into detail because I'm not trying to start up anything. But my thing is, I don't care if it works for you. It works for you. Knock yourself out. Sucks for me, but whatever. And it's just if streaming weed is good for you, then go for it, I guess. Which actually, with that being said, I just saw this in the article. 420 was just 2 days ago, so
right.
So that
I didn't need an article to tell me what the date was, but thank you. Good job, buddy. I'm so proud of you.
Mm-hmm. But
okay, let's move on because now we're getting weird. All right. So next topic is about so with coronavirus, there's been a lot of things delayed, and we've talked about them before, video games and conventions and stuff like that. But the other thing is coronavirus kind of hit during wedding season. I know my wedding was April 1st, which just passed. I mean, that was a few years ago at this point, but a lot of people get married around this time of year. And one couple ended up getting stay-at-home orders during their wedding, or during the time when their wedding was supposed to happen. So obviously they had to cancel it. And I've heard a lot of stories about people having to cancel their weddings or things like that. And so they started playing Animal Crossing to pass the time, fell in love with the new Animal Crossing game, and then I guess fell in love with each other all over again and decided to get married in Animal Crossing. Um, which is really weird. It's good to get married in the video game.
It is really weird, but I've heard of video game weddings before, but it was very quiet because it didn't matter back then because it was just, okay, it's a weird couple getting married, but now this is like a, oh, how sweet kind of story because everybody's having their plans canceled. So
yeah, and it kind of sucks that their plans get canceled like that. And this is kind of interesting. It's not like they just met up and they were like, "Hey, let's pretend we're married." Okay, I'll pretend I'm married. It wasn't really like that. They planned it out quite a bit. They got all their friends to come to one island. He set up like a row of hearts for her to follow, and they have like a little altar and a ceremony thing. So it's kind of like the beach wedding on their little Animal Crossing island. And so he did all of that and ended up surprising her at the end too, because she didn't know that's what was going on, I guess, when she first joined. So we planned it all ahead, arranged to have everybody there, and it was sweet. It's nice. It's obviously, you can't legally get married in Animal Crossing, so it's not like there's a real pastor or anything, but it's a sweet little gesture for two people who got the biggest day of their lives canceled.
I don't know.
You know a little bit about that.
Yeah, as I was saying before we got the podcast starting to JD, this week was the week my wife and I were supposed to get married. And notice I said wife because we ended up getting married anyway. But this was all before things actually started shutting down.
He doesn't know our name, so
I don't.
Just calls her wife.
I just call her wife. It's a safe bet. She can't get mad at that. So
yeah, that's true.
So this was actually before everything started shutting down in the country. I think San Francisco is the only one that really had any real. Ohio, I think, started their stay-at-home stuff. But her and I both work in jobs that restricted us long before most of the country was restricted. I was not allowed to leave my local area because of being in the military. I mean, there's not really a whole lot the military can do to make sure I stay in the local area. But obviously, if I go to my MPS, which is military personnel section, says, "Hey, I got married. I need to add this person as a dependent." They're like, "Wait, when did you get married and how did you get married?" Well, funny story. I went to Tennessee, and they would have found out that way. But so I was not allowed to leave the local area, which means where I live and where I work. That's the furthest I can travel. She found out shortly after that her job was saying that she may have to live at work for 10 plus days. And so, but they didn't know when that was going to happen. So we were going to get married on 4/24 in 2020. So we went ahead and pushed that back when I got my stay-at-home order or my travel restrictions orders from the military, which I could have had waived. I had to submit it to a 4-star general, which I was like, I'm not doing all that because they're going to end up saying no, and I want to waste my time with this.
Yeah.
So we said, all right, let's go ahead. The chapel where we're going to get married, I said we can go ahead and move our wedding to any time we want up until the end of 2021, and they won't charge us anything extra. So she says, how about we get married 8/28 in 2020? She had a big thing about dates, 8/28, 4/24. So she wanted.
Okay.
Hey, it's her wedding. I let her decide it. I'm not going to say that. She's my wife. You can say that all you want, but then she got really disappointed when she was told she might have to stay at home or live at work for 10 plus days. Because she's a nurse at a nursing home, and there's a lot of nursing homes are getting a lot of flack in the news because they've allowed so many of their patients to get sick. In fact, there's one in Macon here that got 78 patients sick, and 16 of their employees are sick. And they're older people, so they're probably not going to make it. So it's I think there's one in Seattle. The federal government is threatening unlawful or unjustified. I can't remember how they word it. Something about accidentally killing people, basically. but I'm not going to get down that road. So they were panicking and said, all right, we may make all our employees live at work. So we end up changing. She got really upset and didn't know what we're going to do. And I said, hey, how about we just get married on 3/23, knowing she liked the date thing. We'll just go up to her grandmother's house, have her uncle, who's a semi-retired pastor, do the wedding, and then we'll just submit our paperwork to the justice of the peace. And because I called the probate courthouse ahead of time to see what we could do. The courthouse wasn't even doing weddings, so they refused to let us. But I asked them if I got somebody else to officiate, would be fine. So these people, and maybe I've heard of webcam weddings before, so maybe they got somebody to officiate the Animal Crossing wedding to make this legal. But the funny thing is, though, when I was reading tonight, looking for this article again, I saw something saying that Animal Crossing is now going to add wedding season and wedding events. I don't know if it's because of this or this was planned long before this couple got married, but Animal Crossing will start to add wedding features to the game.
I doubt it's directly because of this. One incident. It's kind of Animal Crossing's motif, adding cutesy things like Easter bunnies and stuff like that. So
hey, I guess we can get married in ESO. So
yeah, in fact, if we did, you get a 10% experience bonus.
All right,
so we should.
Levi,
let's go.
JD, will you be my wife? And
will I virtually marry you? But I'm a cat. I'm a Khajiit. This is bestiality now.
I'm a lizard, so.
Oh, okay. All right, let's go. I'm gonna make your tail grow back.
I'm gonna get it. I'm marrying you for the XP boost. I'm just gonna put that out there, though.
Wow, it's a green card marriage. Wow, it's an ESO green card marriage.
Aren't the Khajiit in ESO now technically refugees?
Something like that. Like their town got taken over, their country or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So wouldn't that make you doing the green card marriage and I'm the one with the established home?
Yeah, but you've already established that you don't really mean it. So it's fine. It's fine. We'll do it. It's fine. Jerk.
Make me feel bad.
Yeah. All right. So that's topic number 2. Let's move on to the last topic. We've got Fallout 76. The greatest game ever created.
I'm surprised it's still alive.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I got a good boost with this recent update. They had an update called the Wastelanders expansion, where for the first time since the game's release, they added non-playing characters to it, outside of, like the feral ghouls and stuff that you have to kill. These are actually like NPCs that will interact with you, and you can talk to them, and they'll give you quests, and you can do that kind of stuff. So it added a whole new element to the game that brought back some of the population that had already left. Because it was interesting enough to expand the game. But there's a twist because there are some small bugs. Big surprise in this new expansion. One of them is that the NPCs will loot your corpse if you happen to die anywhere near the NPCs. And this is common with the Fallout games, and I think even like Skyrim and stuff, that they will pick up things that they find on the ground that they can use, and it's because the NPC is programmed to improve itself. So if it finds a better weapon, it picks up a weapon. The problem is if you've spent 1,000 hours questing for the best Gatling gun in the game, and then you die next to a friendly NPC, when you come back to get your loot, you're going to find that NPC walking around with your gun, and there's nothing you can do about it. Especially if it's an allied NPC, you can't kill them. Or like if it's part of a quest, certain NPCs you can't kill or can't be killed. So they talk specifically about a specific example where an ally picked up a very powerful weapon and was using it, and they could do nothing about it because they couldn't kill him and they can't get it back from the NPC.
And so from what I understand, that
sucks.
From what I understand, in Fallout 76, the grind alone is painful for just ammo.
Yeah,
I've heard stories of people who made farm accounts and they farmed so much ammo off those farm accounts that Bethesda accused them of hacking and cheating and banned their accounts for doing it. They called it a duplication glitch for ammo. But these guys are like, no, I just dedicated thousands of hours on my farm account to get ammo and send it to my main, so my main has ammo to do what they need to do. So you can't imagine with these people dedicating all this time to get ammo for their best gun so they can continue on with the game, just to have it stolen from them by the newest feature of the game that people complain about not being in the game in the first place, which was NPCs. A lot of people are really upset about no NPCs in the game.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just kind of icing on the cake of Fallout 76 because this game has just been plagued with stupidity and terrible bugs and all kinds of problems since its inception. So it's fitting that players would be punished for a new addition to the game that's trying to make it better.
Which is, go ahead.
No, I didn't have anything. Go ahead.
Which is like a reoccurring theme with Fallout 76. Like there's been so much, every time something new or different happens in the game, a player gets punished. Like the developers of Fallout 76 had a room within the game used to help them test new things in the game before release to the public. Well, they didn't secure that room very well, and somebody found a way to get into it. Was able to steal all the best weapons, all the best guns, armor, ammo, everything, and go out and sell it to people. Well, instead of saying our bad, we'll just lock it up better, make sure it doesn't happen anymore. They banned the original players that made videos on how to exploit this glitch to get into this testing room, basically. So it's like it's everything that seems to happen in Fallout 76 since I've heard as much as I followed about it has been punishing the players, and it's when it's not most of the time not even the player's fault. So
right, it's hardly ever the player's fault. It's almost always on Bethesda. They've done all kinds of stuff. Like they had special storage bins that would like eat your gear and stuff like that. I mean, just all kinds of crazy things from the very beginning of the game that obviously the team making this was not prepared for what an online game should be. And they've just messed it up continuously. It's amazing to me that people even still play it. I'm really surprised that it has much of a population at all because it was a game that I literally had zero interest in, and I have played the crap out of every Fallout game, even the originals back before Bethesda had it. I have played all the Fallout games, and this one did not interest me at all. So
they didn't market it very well from the beginning. They didn't market it at all.
Well, I mean, I remember when it was announced, and pretty much as soon as it was announced, people were like, "This sounds terrible." Like, it wasn't good. Like I don't from a gamer's perspective who understands online games, the way they announced it with the ability to nuke people and the fact that there were no NPCs, like
that's
it just
right.
all sounded terrible. It didn't sound fun. It didn't sound good at all. And I guess, and they've definitely made some improvements. I'll give them that. They've added stuff to the thing, but they've also added a lot of ways to make money off of it because they weren't making enough money, so they wanted to get people to pay more for, so that they could make something out of it. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that game. I like Bethesda. I like the stuff they make, but not that.
It was clear that it was meant as a big microtransaction grab from the beginning. That's like what their whole driving of creating this game was for. And
I mean,
them in the butt.
Bethesda has had a lot of problems in the past because they don't make money off their games. So like they have these huge, epic, sprawling, amazing role-playing games like Skyrim, but the problem with Skyrim is once you buy the base game and maybe one or two DLCs, Bethesda's not making any more money off of it, even though you're playing it for another 6 months. And like Skyrim has a huge modding community and has been around for years because of this modding community, but Bethesda doesn't make any money off those mods. So this hugely popular game that's been around forever, they're not making any money off of. So it's pretty obvious that Fallout 76 was their attempt to find a way to continuously make money off a game like Fallout or Elder Scrolls. And it worked for Elder Scrolls Online. That's been a very popular game and has been continuously improving. But if you play that game for 5 seconds, you're barraged with ways to spend money. So that like
nonstop.
and
They even
I
got
don't know,
that
I don't
week free of ESO Plus right now, and
yeah, and that's screwing me over because now I'm addicted to ESO Plus and I'm gonna have to pay for it. Screw them.
that's why they did it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
So
that's like, it's, they just don't put the thought into the game anymore. It's all about what's the biggest cash grab. I remember, I can't remember if it was Fallout 76 or the Fallout before it. They talked about how they did they banned mods for the game, and they reached out to the big mod creators of past Fallouts and asked them to make mods for them to sell.
yeah.
And they were trying to put a market on the mods, and that's what essentially
Right.
what
They
led
were
to
trying
these
to create a
microtransactions.
mod market. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean they tried to introduce mods on Xbox in the same way. They basically wanted you to pay for it, or they wanted to create like an auction house for mods where people who created the mods would get money and
They get
then
a
Bethesda
percentage.
could also earn off of it kind of thing, and so it would benefit everybody, but it didn't really benefit anybody, and it just made the whole thing a whole lot worse. But that's definitely obviously something Bethesda is trying to do for future games, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Right now, Fallout 76 seems like a pretty big failure,
Which is going to
especially
hurt
when
them
you
for
lose your guns.
Yeah, especially and you dedicate hours of getting those guns. And from what I understand, I won't be surprised if this ends up hurting them in future Fallout franchise installments. They're gonna have to do something pretty amazing with little to no issues to be able to pull people back in. They've hurt. I mean, I don't mean this in a belittling way. They hurt a lot of feelings of dedicated Fallout fans that they feel a little betrayed by all this, and they want nothing to do with the franchise anymore. So,
Well, they've been hemorrhaging Fallout fans since they did Fallout 3. I mean, the games
yeah.
are so different, and yeah, this is a bad one. If they do it, I mean, they're a long way away from any sort of new Fallout since they have this outer space game coming up called Starfield, I think, something like that, and then they have
Oh
Elder Scrolls
yeah.
6 after that, and then maybe a new Fallout. So it's at least a few years away. But it's got to be better than this. It's got to be something spectacular because I don't think anybody's going to be interested in that game if 76 is anything if it's anywhere near what 76 is.
They're
So
gonna have to redeem themselves in a pretty big way. I played. I mean, I can't say much about the Fallout franchise. I've done a lot more with Elder Scrolls and Skyrim and Oblivion than I have with Fallout. But I played maybe 10, 12 hours of one Fallout, and it just wasn't for me because I died a lot. I mean, a lot. So, and
you die a lot in every game because you're
I do die
bad
a
at
lot.
games.
Well, see, I get bored and I want to rush into combat, and you can't always do that in games like that because they're meant to be difficult. You're supposed to build your way up, and I'm like, no, screw that. Let's just go right into it and see what happens.
So you're dumb, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. All right. Good talk. Hooray! All right, that's it for our topics. We went through all three, and now we're ready to go. What you got? Anything for the outro?
I was gonna just make a quick mention. Some of you may have noticed on Twitter, I made a tweet about the Minecraft library again. I found the actual website for the actual game itself that gives you instructions on how to not only buy and download the game, but how to download their map, so you can go in and see the Minecraft library yourself. So look for that for me to post a video about the Minecraft library in the future, which is actually pretty neat because they got the sections, and I don't know if we talked about this during the episode, but they got each section is dedicated to a country known for journalism suppression with a little like backstory on why that country has the issues that it does. And then they got different journalists dedicated to each room. Like they got a journalist from each country, which if they're worried about journalism suppression, sharing their real names on a public website may not have been a good idea. But maybe those journalists are protected in some way, so they don't have to worry about the repercussions of going against their country's wishes. But I posted on that Twitter, I posted the link to their main website and a website to a company that their whole job is to make custom Minecraft worlds. That's all they do, and that's who built Minecraft library for them. So I will share those links in the description of the video. They'll be way down below because it'll be in the bonus section because it's not really what this episode was about. But I just want to throw that out there for anybody that's interested in Minecraft and or the Minecraft library. So
it's kind of crazy having an entire team dedicated to just building Minecraft worlds. That's great.
That's all they do. They had some pretty, like, if you look at the pictures, they got some pretty crazy worlds. They take like popular movies or video games and just recreate the worlds, and so they got a whole portfolio, and you can hire them to make anything you want them to make. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
I was just going to talk about Super Mario Maker 2. It's not Super. It's just Mario Maker 2, right? Pretty sure. No, Super Mario Maker 2. I'm right. Shut up. Okay, so I don't have a Switch, so I've never actually played it, but I love watching other people play Mario Maker 2 just because it's kind of nostalgic. It kind of reminds me of playing Mario, and I always loved Mario as a kid. So I watch it a lot, and I watch the updates on it. And if anybody didn't know, Super Mario Maker 2 just got its third and its final update. They're not going to update it anymore, but this update was huge because for one thing, it added Mario Brothers 2 power-ups, so you can turn into a Mario or a Luigi from Super Mario Brothers 2, which is interesting because that's not canon really, because Super Mario Maker 2 wasn't made in Japan. Like, it wasn't made with the same group of people. So a lot of people debated if there would ever be any of that in an official Nintendo game. But it is there, and they have the music, and so that really takes me back because I actually used to love Mario 2. And they added all kinds of other stuff. They added all kinds of new power-ups, and you can actually make your own worlds now. So you could literally make your own Mario game with like an overview map, and then people have to travel to all the different courses, and then you have 8 different versions of that they have to go through, kind of thing. So that's pretty crazy too. It's basically like a game within a game at this point. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. The final update, it's live now. It just went live today on the 22nd. So go check it out. It's very cool.
You notice that a lot of these games are adding building aspects to them now, like games that normally didn't have creation / building parts.
I think it gives it a lot of longevity. Like with Mario Maker 2, I mean, you could play that game a million times and hardly ever play the same level or the same map because so many people are creating things. So I think it gives these games life because they can just keep going and going and going forever and ever until they get shut down. So it's pretty cool.
No, I'm not complaining. I mean, I'm a sucker for building games. That's why I got drawn into Satisfactory, and I dedicated another 7 hours to it this week in one day. So that was great. I didn't go to bed till about 4 in the morning, and yeah. So
yeah, that game does that to you for sure. I've been there. Yeah,
too many times. Been there way too many times. So I mean, it's interesting. New stuff to old games to make them relevant.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very neat. I like it a lot. So if you want to keep in touch with us, use our hashtag NTWP. You can tag us on Twitter. I have both of our Twitters in the podcast description every episode. And we can talk about gaming stuff. We'll also talk about military stuff because we're both military. I don't think we mentioned that this week, but we are, and we will. You can also, send us drawings or make music for us that we can use for our intro and outro. I don't know. Do whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
keep in touch.
Definitely give you credit for both, whether you want to use your real name or some handle you like to use to promote your stuff. So, we're always looking to promote things. So, and we don't do military stuff that often because there hasn't really been a whole lot of military news, at least not like there's been COVID related news, but I don't think we're intentionally avoiding that for obvious reasons.
Yeah, why be depressing? Yeah. We don't want to. It's all depressing news.
We do a lot of COVID stories, but they are usually the good side of COVID, whether it's like charity events or charity packages, or somebody just can't do their wedding, so they're doing it in another way. So it's we want to keep on that side of the pandemic and not the depressing negative side. So
yeah. Yep. So give us a ring on Twitter. I don't know what you call it. Give us a tweet on Twitter. That doesn't sound right.
Don't at me,
give
bro.
us a Twitter. Do at me. Do at us.
Yes. Yes. At and hashtag, all that good stuff.
Yeah. And we will see you guys, or you will hear us next week on another episode.
7 weeks in a row. I didn't think we were going to be that dedicated to this, but we're making it.
We're doing it. We're making it work. To our audience of 5. Thank you for listening.
We'll catch you guys in the next week.